I'm back to Tell the Truth channel. Please hit subscribe, show my content on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and what other content that y'all go on. I appreciate I appreciate that very much. I am in Jesus and Jesus is in me. Let me tell y'all how do it works by my daddy choosing people for us to become chosen ones. Okay, now my daddy has certain people that he choose to do his work, to do his will. He have, you know, pick people that he choose to do his will. And it's a lot of people like, okay, like he got a lot of people that go to that preachers, and some of these preachers are really working for my daddy because he chose them. See, my daddy knows who he choose to work for him. He knows when he choose somebody, he know he's choosing the right hearts to come and work for him. And he knows that he got people out here that's hypocrites that try to um act like that my daddy chose them, but he didn't, because he know who he choose to be uh, to be chosen. He know who he choose to be chosen. So he has a lot of chosen um preachers out there. Really, really chosen preachers out there. Because the reason why I say this is because it's preachers. Now, I know, look, I talk about the congregations, what they do in church. Now, I'm going to talk about the preachers that call themselves being chosen and not chosen. I'm finna talk about that. Okay. Now, like I say, I am the truth channel. I tells the truth, and I'm not going to pull no punches. I'm going to lay it off exactly what my daddy tells me and what I see. This is what he's telling me. Now, some of these people act like they work for my father, but they don't. Because they will go to church and they will sit in the congregation, the preachers would sit in this congregation and they would preach everything to their congregations. They would preach it to them. And then turn around after they leave that church, after they do the Bible class and all the other stuff that they do at church, you know, they have these people come around collecting money, you know, you're supposed to be using that money for the good. Supposed to be taking that money and helping building up the church. If the church is going through any problems, that money's supposed to help build that church up and make it better. Or if the congregations are going through something, or somebody are going through a loss, like say they lose their home or whatever, them churches, these preachers supposed to be there to help their congregations through what they go through. That's what that collection money supposed to be for, to help the people for what they go through and to build up the church if the church have any problems. That money is not for the preachers to take and go and on trips with their families, buying cars and jewelry and all of that stuff. No, that is not what that money is for. That money is for to help the congregation when they are struggling, or if the church is struggling. That's what that money is there for to do. That is what it's for. Now, these preachers, just like I said about the congregations, when they come in there drunk, oh, the preachers, they do it too. The ones that call themselves working for my daddy and not working for my daddy, they call themselves, and then they go, they do the same thing that the congregation do. They go out on Fridays and Saturdays and they party. They do. The preachers. They go out on Fridays and Saturdays and they party. And then they come back on Sundays and do their congregation. They start preaching in the church. And they be sometimes be drunk. They self preaching to these congregations. Yes. They be sometimes drunk they self. Because they done been out for 2 days partying and then knowing that they have to, you know, knowing that they have to come to church and help people, they come there drunk. Yeah, they do it too. So it's no different on the congregations. It's no different. They do the same thing. They out there calling themselves supposed to be with their families or out there messing around, doing things that they should not be doing. Just the same thing that the congregation doing, these preachers is out there doing it too. They doing it the same thing that the congregation is doing, the preachers is doing it too. Now, the real preachers, no, they don't drink like that. They take care of their families. They do help the congregation. They do build up churches. The real preachers that my daddy have serving him, they do the right thing that they're supposed to do because my daddy knows they heart and they know they heart. They know when they supposed to do the right thing. These preachers that my daddy choose, they probably drink sometimes. Yeah, like drink wine or whatever. But they don't get drunk because they know what they here for. They know that they are here to serve and do their will. They know what they're here to do. And how you know that? Because they get the calling just like we get the calling. My daddy tells them things too, what to do. And they do it. Because you know how when you listen to somebody that believes in God, like say I'm listening to a preacher preaching, okay? And I'm walking with my daddy and I'm listening to a preacher. Now, the same things that my daddy would say to me, he would say to he would say to a preacher. And that's how I know that that preacher has been called on because he would say to me what he said to that preacher. And I know that preacher has been called on because the things that he say to all of his chosen ones, we all get the same words from my daddy. Sometimes he give us all different assignments, but sometimes the assignments be the same. And that's how you know when you are called to him because he give you words that make sense and you know that he's talking to the right people because the other person that he called on and then you hear that person talking, you know that's my daddy talking. He talked through these people because he say the same thing to them what he says to his other chosen ones. That's how you know. Because when you hear a preacher preaching and they will tell you, well, God said this. And then you looking like, yeah, he did say that. He did say that. Yeah, he said don't do this. Yeah, he said don't do that. Because that's what he been said to his chosen ones. That's how you know the difference between a real preacher and a preacher is not real. Because a real preacher is not going to go out there and just want you to constantly give and then they take that money and do whatever they want to do with it. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to make sure that their congregation is well taken care of. They're going to make sure that they church is well taken care of. And they're going to make sure that if anybody is struggling that need anything, they're going to make sure that that person is well taken care of. Even if they see somebody out there in the world and they know that that person is struggling, they're going to help that person. And you're not going to never see a real preacher. You're not going to never see a real preacher drunk. You're never going to see that. Because real preachers don't drink. They drink, but they don't drink. They don't get out of their head. They never gonna do that. They never gonna do that because they know who their boss is. They know who they working for, and they know who they got to come to at the end of the day. Because my daddy, he watch everybody. He watch all of us. He know everything we do. He watch us in our house wherever we at 24 hours a day. And every preacher that believes in my daddy, that my daddy choose, they gets on their knees every day and they pray to my daddy. And they check into him and they let them know. They let him know how everything is going and what they have done for him that day or that next day. That's what they do. They check into him every day. Now, a preacher that call themselves believing in my daddy but don't believe in my daddy, they're not going to check in. They're not going to check in. Because how could they say something to my daddy that he already know? He know all of our hearts. He know our minds. He know everything we think about. He know everything. So how they going to check into him and try to say things to him that's not true? That he already know that's not true. They can't pull the wool over my daddy's eyes. They can't do that. So they're not going to check into him. They're just going to get up and they're going to go do what they do. They're going to go to church and they're going to preach. They're going to keep doing what they do because they're not really God's children. They not. But they use my daddy's name for vain. They use his name in vain. That's what they do. They use his name in vain. They use him to get people to come to their churches. That's what they do. And a real preacher is not going to do that. They're not going to use my daddy to come to their churches. They're not going to do that. And they're not going to sit there and want you to turn around and give them want you to pass the what's the name around every 5 minutes of the day. They're not going to do that. They're not going to sit there and want you to keep passing the collection plate around every 5 minutes. They're not going to do that. Only a church that don't believe in my daddy, that just want money, them the ones is going to want you to keep passing around collection plates 24 hours a day. Because a real preacher, they know that my daddy is going to take care of them. They know that. They know that he is going to always look out for them no matter what they go through. He always going to give them what they need. They don't have to sit there and beg for the congregation to get it because they know they're going to get it from my daddy. They know that, the real preachers. Because they honor my daddy. They respect him. And every day they get on their knees and they pray to him and they thank him for the things that he do for them every day. They thank him for that because they know that if they need anything, he's going to give it to them. So they don't have to use the congregation to get what they need. Only the preachers that act like they use my daddy name in vain, they use the congregation to get what they need. So that's what I want to talk to y'all about. I talked about the congregation, how they acted. Now I'm talking about how the preachers act, how some of the preachers act. So yeah, that's what they go off of. That's what they look for. That's how you know the difference between the real preachers and the preachers that's not real. The real preachers do the right thing, and the preachers that's not real, they don't do the right things. They're only out for themselves. And that's what I wanted to say to y'all. Y'all have a good day and a blessed day. Jesus love you. Father love you. The Holy Ghost love you. The angels love you. Ancestors, everybody love y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening to me. Talk to y'all soon.